I think Yakuza is in a rough place right now, and the future isn't looking too great either. This year we got Pirate Yakuza, where the writing is piss poor. There's no thought put into anything, there's no consequences to anything, there's nothing in the story that is done remotely well. The game falls to its knees by simply asking the question, what is a pirate? In Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, because Keith and his crew are like wannabe pirates apparently, even though they fit into the exact definition of a pirate. And later, Majima becomes the captain of their crew, so is Majima like a pirate pretender or not? Because they treat Majima and his buddies like actual pirates. So, do you know what a pirate is? Because I don't, and they don't. So, do you know what a pirate is? Because I don't, and they don't. So, do you? Well, guess what? We never really get a clear answer to that, or anything in that matter. Also, do you know how many times this game sets up something only to forget it like 2 minutes later? But that's because it's a silly game that you aren't supposed to take seriously, and that apparently means that there are no stakes in anything and nothing matters. Oh, Jason, you almost hit your son, and oh, Noah, you were kidnapped, and oh, Shigaki, you kidnapped Noah, despite not being able to stand seeing kids right, and also stabbed Jason? Well, who cares about that? Everyone makes mistakes. Come on, guys, let's go on an adventure! Majima's personality is completely erased, and he's just another boring dude now, who just happens to have an accent and an eye patch. All the other characters are inconsistent, boring, and forgettable. The exact same side content from the last game is force-fisted into the game, and the combat sucks, and the pirates stuff is void of any personality, and is boring, and oh my god how boring this game is, and more importantly, the character is a big pile of doo-doo. Pirate Yakuza is a big joke, and not a good one. It's a big, boring old joke that goes on longer than it needs to. Man, if there only was a big, almost 3-hour video that would explain all the problems I have with this game, if only. And we got Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, which is just a straight up cash grab, and a retcon shit for no reason. Man, if there was only a video! And I've seen people defending Pirate Yakuza and Yakuza 0 Director's Cut saying, well, Pirate Yakuza wasn't meant to be taken seriously, and Yakuza has always been silly, and all the old Yakuza games had the same problems. And I'm going to be talking why I think they're dumb arguments, and more used to completely dismiss the problems that these games have. I'll also go over the rules of the Yakuza series, but yeah, without further ado, let's begin. And to make things clear, I'm not being critical of these games and series because I want them to be bad. It's because I deeply care about this series and I want it to be good. And also, you can like Pirate Yakuza or any of these games. What do you think I'm gonna do? Come to your house and kick down your door? Well, you'd be wrong. I come for your window instead. Also spoilers for the entire Yakuza series, obviously.
Did I ever tell you what the definition of insanity is? Insanity is doing the exact same fucking thing over and over again, expecting shit to change. That is crazy.
When people criticize Pirate Yakuza for being too silly and stupid, Yakuza fans have been defending that saying, well, Yakuza has always been silly and absurd like Castle Heart 2, but now people have a problem with it. Alright then, why don't we look at all the extra silly moments in the main story? Starting with Yakuza 2 because I couldn't remember anything for Yakuza 1. Also, I'm mostly going off my memory here because I don't want to go play most of these games again right now. So sorry if I get anything wrong or if I forget to mention anything. The Kazuki Korean body double bullshit, whatever the fuck that was stupid. The castle coming out of a castle, it was especially stupid and bad because it took the feeling of urgency away. Gear just got stabbed. And oh shit, Haruka got kidnapped. And oh, there's a castle coming out of a castle. Okay. Like the seriousness of the situation is completely gone now. I get that they wanted to show that the fan fucking dude was like really like money, but him living in the Osa castle already showed him that. The tiger fighting was dumb, not only because it's just, I don't know, it's kind of stupid, but animals just aren't fun to fight against. You can't do most of your moves against them or hit actions. They have like 3 or attacks maybe, probably, I don't remember. I get that they're really just supposed to be like a wacky and like a different boss fight, but I just rather not. The whole end of Yakuza 2 was also just a fucking hot mess. This doesn't really go here, but fuck that ending. Yakuza 3. The Kazama twins was dumb, and I can't really think of anything else. I mean, there was other stupid stuff, but it was not on the level of the convenient twin that the story needed to create a mystery. I mean, I guess Kashiwagi's death was a bit of an overkill. They just could have used a sniper. Yakuza 4. I sure do love rubber. Rubber bullets, I know it's memed and like funny, but it is bad. Not only did it shit on Saijima's character in the scene that was really good and one of the best scenes in the series, but also just served as a cheap plot twist. Like, how convenient that the rubber bullets just somehow knock out everyone, and what the fuck was the antagonist's plan here? After Saijima leaves and gets up and thankfully doesn't investigate all these bodies, thankfully, and the antagonist decides to shoot everyone in the head rather than, I don't know, shoot them in the spot that were hit by the rubber bullets to at least try to cover his tracks. This again really doesn't go here, but the ending was, what the actual fuck was that? Yakuza 5, there was the big bear, which, again, I don't think it really meant to be something other than a wacky boss fight. Well, Yakuza 5 not really having any absurd things in it, that sure doesn't stop being from a fucking mess. Like, the amount of times they say the word dream. I know people joke about it, being like, haha, dream, they don't say the word dream a lot. But seriously, what the fuck were they thinking? Why did they think that was like an okay thing to do? Why did the characters need to ask, hey, you ever had a dream before? Every fucking like 5 or 10 minutes. I can't believe they wrote, recorded, and animated and put this game out without asking themselves like, hey, maybe this is a bit much. Every time they said the word dream, I lost a bit of my insanity. And at the end of Yakuza 5, it was just gone. Now I am an insane person because of this game. If I ever hear a character say the word dream again in this game, I am going to smash my head through my TV. This is your fault, Yakuza 5! Oh yeah, there was the naked dude doing push-ups. I don't, this doesn't really go here, but I just remember that. Yakuza 6, the big boat, I guess it's not really, I don't fucking remember. Also in the Millennium Tower fight, there's a helicopter with the skeleton gun, and there's other stuff like that in the other games that I just don't remember there is. I know there is, but I don't remember where. So I'm just letting you know that I think it's dumb and stupid, and I never really kind of like that type of bullshit. Oh yeah, there's the whole abandoned, so bland, kinky guy. Yakuza 7, the Mirror Man, or I guess Mirror Face. To me, it just seemed like they didn't know how to get Ryoaki at the end to reveal his plans, so they came up with Mirror Face, which wasn't the best idea in the world. Mirror Face was like stupid, but it was just kind of a convenient thing that helped them get the bad guy caught red-handed. And Kashiwagi and Lao Kalong. If Kashiwagi was the only character that they brought back, alright, fine. But they also brought back Lao Kalong, which I didn't know until 8. I just thought he was a dude who worked for Lao Kalong, which I wish it was. As stupid as their death retcons are, at least they were like quote-unquote Easter eggs, and not, you know, new cutscenes. Not that it made it any better. Gaiden, the whole spy shenanigans and the big castle ship in the middle of the ocean. I almost forgot about that, which was like a big part of the game. So there's this big ship that has like a castle on it and a big ass Colosseum and there's the whole thing with slaves. Fucking I don't remember. That's owned by like Nishitani the third Fishitani. It is a bit much compared to the usual stupid bullshit that Yakuza has, but it's still kind of believable, even though they are kind of stretching it. Like the whole castle boat is like purgatory, but like 100 times bigger and more ridiculous. And it is believable compared to Pirate Yakuza. Yakuza 8, this is where they really start to push it. Like the big ass shark and the big ass squid. And it's just not a normal big squid, it's like a mythical creature. But again, it is just kind of a wacky boss fight. And Ichiban's imagination could have like exaggerated things. It's also not really integral to the story, just like the other animal fights. Doesn't mean that I like it at all. Moreover, I can't believe you were making me defend Infinite Wolf. All the other stuff in the story also doesn't help. So you're telling me this like 100-year-old cult leader who looks 60 has a private island where he brainwashes children and puts nuclear waste without anyone's knowledge for like exactly how long? Yeah, it's a bit a lot, and the rest of the story isn't much better either. Don't even get me started on the fucking story. Also, they made Adachi ripped. Why did they do that? RGG. Why do you need to give every man like abs? I want some variety here. I want a goddamn fucking beer belly. This was the game that started to go overboard with the stupid shit, but it's still somewhat believable. Again, compared to Pirate Yakuza. Also, Andre Richardson. I don't think I need to go into that. Finally, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. For starters, let's look at the pirates and the whole pirate heaven. So there's this old woman who likes pirates, I guess. And after Bryce got arrested, she took over Atlantis and created this Pirates Coliseum, and now it's like a pirate hangout spot, but not like modern pirates, but like middle-aged pirates. They're all dressed up as like 15th century pirates and also sailing 15th century style ships. Like, again, I've said it's before, but why not make an Asian style game? This is the same shit from like Gaiden, but with like pirates 10 times stupider, because all the pirate dudes ride around Hawaii with their like pirate ships, and all of that goes like unnoticed somehow. But you know what? Whatever. This is just Yakuza being Yakuza, you know. It can't get many more ridiculous than this. Oh, what's that? Oh, Majima lost his memory by getting attacked by the big mythical squid. This wasn't just another wacky boss fight or just silly side content. This was the explanation for how he lost his memory. Remind you, this is in the story and this game is canon. And also, it's just so fucking underwhelming because they don't really do anything with it. Like, Majima attacks the squid and the squid just flops him over, and then they don't even show Majima killing the squid. If you're going to do this shit, can't you at least make it somewhat interesting? Anyhow, it gets worse. At the end, we learned more about the heart of the dragon, the fucking life exler, and what we learned is that it forms the intestines of a sperm whale, and it looks kind of like a rock. And to fucking consume it, you brew it up like tea. And then the game shows the 200-year-old grandpa collecting all of the magical rocks around his house and throwing them into the ocean. Before that, Masaru and Jason talk about Bryce and how he was like 100 years old and looks suspiciously good for being 100. And hey, what if he had the magical sperm rock tea? And then they show a picture of Bryce and the fucking grandpa drinking the tea, and there's a rock behind a flower pot. So they're just straight up magic in the main story of a canon Yakuza game. And that explains how Bryce looks so young. They don't do this subtly either, they just straight up point it out. A lot of the defense I saw for this game was like, oh, well, was Majima telling the story and he's exaggerating things and making things crazier. But this wasn't Majima telling us this. He finished telling his story. This was the game showing us this. This was the game pointing with red arrows and yelling, hey look, this grandpa is 200 years old because he drank the magical sperm rock tea and Bryce also drank it. So yes, Yakuza had some unrealistic and really stupid bullshit in it, but it wasn't just straight up magic. There's a big difference between exaggerated things and straight up fucking magic. I don't understand how people can defend this. Pirate Yakuza silly stupid shit doesn't even come close to the other Yakuza games. I'm sorry for making this comparison again, but this is like Breaking Bad having a Titan Coyote attack Walton Jesse's Wayne, and that causes Walter to like lose his memory. And at the end we see like Hector drink the fucking sperm rock tea to live 100 years older. I don't fucking know. And when people would criticize that, fans would defend saying like, oh well, Breaking Bad has always had absurd and unrealistic and silly shit in it, like the meth explosion and the secret underground meth lab. I seriously don't understand where this criticism comes from. Also, all of this stuff I listed out, I have never liked any of it. So what makes you think that I will like this in Pirate Yakuza or the future games? All the Yakuza games have really dumb bullshit in it, but I don't want them to continue putting that dumb bullshit in their newer games. I want them to change and learn from their mistakes. Also, so people criticizing Pirate Yakuza for being too silly is just the tip of the fucking iceberg. It's not that it's too silly, it's that the silly stuff is done badly and nothing makes sense, there's no stakes in anything, the pirate stuff is boring, the adventure is boring, the side content is the same shit from 8 and it's fucking boring. And they took what made Majima interesting and unique and made him boring. I think you get the point. What made the silliness so great and memorable in the older games is that it was mostly in the optional side content in contrast to the series story, and that's what made it more effective, and also it was actually funny for the most part. The contrast of the silly to serious was what made Yakuza Yakuza, and it kinda got lost in 7. Ichiban being more of a cheerful protagonist than Kiryu, and the RPG element with Ichiban's imagination, like the whole gameplay of it, and the fucking mandatory sub-stories, which fuck those. And despite the story being a pretty serious and tragic, this tone wasn't really that serious compared to the older games. But the contrast was still there, and great compared to Infinite Wealth and Pirate Yakuza. I'd say they completely lost it in 8. But 8 had a lot of serious and bloody stuff in it. Again, the tone wasn't that serious or tense at all. And the reactions to the fucking serious stuff wasn't there. Infinite Health having like people being killed brutally and crucified feels like a cartoon for teenagers putting people getting brutally killed to say that, hey, this is for adults. You see, there's a lot of blood in it, so that means it's for grown-ups. It just feels artificial, and it certainly doesn't help that they turned Ichiban into a complete and utter moron. Chitose could portray them 100 times and Ichi could still be a horrible person and Ichiban would still forgive them. The whole cult and big sea creatures and the story binging shit also doesn't help. Pirate Yakuza has the same problems but much worse. Hey, there are people getting eaten by sharks, so that means this game isn't for babies. It's for big babies. And it's not like I would mind a less serious Yakuza game. I actually prefer media that leans more towards being comedic and more light-hearted. Two of my favorite enemies of all time are Kintama and also Matsu-san. But one of the reasons I don't like Pirate Yakuza is that the silliness, the story isn't well done at all. It isn't fun, it isn't funny, characters aren't compelling or interesting in any shape or form, it's boring, and the goofy stuff isn't that crazy. It's just kinda like, ooh, it's quirky. People calling Pirate Yakuza crazy, it just reminds me of the roller coaster SpongeBob meme. Whoa, this game is crazy! Yeah, it's crazy how shit it is. And once again, you can like any of these games, but what I have a problem with is the attitude that people have with these games. When you dislike or criticize Pirate Yakuza or any of the Yakuza games, fans will respond with, well, you're just wrong, or you just hate having fun, or you're rage baiting. Or with Pirate Yakuza, you're taking things too seriously. It's just a silly game. Just because it's supposed to be silly and unserious doesn't mean it's supposed to be shit. It doesn't mean they can't put any thought and effort into anything. These responses just dismiss the criticisms rather than address them. Also, this argument only exists because Pirate Yakuza is bad at everything. They wouldn't make these arguments if the game was good. If you refuse to take any criticism for the Yakuza games, then they are going to improve. In order for these games to be better and improve, you have to point out the issues that these games have. And if you can't do that, maybe you just don't care. Well, hey, maybe the Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii had the infinite wealth all along.
Do you think
the protagonist should be able to hit women?
No. Oh shit, the table's leaving. What the?
Did you know there are absolute rules for the Yakuza games since the first game? We might have heard or seen this, but let's look at them. Ever since the first game, we've imposed rules on ourselves such as the protagonist must cut ties with the Yakuza and be expelled or retire. Protagonist must never hit anyone unprovoked. The protagonist must never hit women. The death of a child must never be depicted. Drugs must never be depicted. Honestly, it's a hindrance when we're developing stories, but it's our policy when dealing with these kinds of subjects. So these rules are just kind of fucking stupid. I get that drugs and child death must never be depicted or more to do with like censorship, but you're making a series centered around organized crime aimed at adults, man. All these rules are outdated and make things restrictive. Again, you're making a crime drama about dark and serious topics, so these rules just kinda dumb things down. Also, they have broken every one of these except the child and drug one. The protagonist must cut ties with the Yakuza and be expelled or retire. Me when I can't play as the Yakuza in a series called Yakuza. I get that they didn't want to encourage or show that being a Yakuza is cool, but just because you're playing as the bad guy doesn't encourage that. Also, what about Dead Souls? Majima was a Yakuza just fine. I guess they just forgot about that. Like, just let me play as a criminal, please. Just let me be a fucking murderer in my fucking Yakuza game. The protagonist must never hit anyone unprovoked. I just don't get this one. I get where the other ones are coming from, but this, why? Why be so boring? Also, didn't Kiryu hit Daigo unprovoked in Yakuza 2? And there are probably other examples that I don't remember, so yeah. The protagonist must never hit women. There's no other way to put it, this one is just misogynistic. It's because the hero can't hit women. You can't hit a woman no matter what. It just shows that they don't view women equal to men. You can't hit a woman or have women be an antagonist because women are like dainty little beings. They can't be strong, they can't be dangerous, they can't be evil, they can't be morally corrupt. Because they're women. All this rule has done is just also hurt the female characters in this series. Like Seonhee, where she's supposed to be this like badass and dangerous leader, but you can't actually fight her. You have to fight her underlings instead. And then she became an ally. We have never really gotten a female antagonist, and that just sucks. Well, not until Pirate Yakuza. But too bad she can be replaced with a cardboard cutout and nothing would change. Like, imagine if the Queen of England was the final boss and when she takes off her clothes she's fucking ripped. I'm not saying that would have fixed anything, but it definitely would have been more entertaining. Like, give me some evil bitches, please. What about Park? My issues with Park wasn't that she was a bad person, it was that she was abusive and manipulative to everyone around her, but the game treated her like she did nothing wrong. Also, they have broken this rule. In Kiwami or the original, you beat 2 women up, so yeah. Also, I like that they have a rule against hitting women, but not children. Because I don't fucking know. You can have your protagonist hit as many children as they want, but not women. They can be a child abuser, but not a women abuser. The death of a child must never be depicted. I don't really care about this one. Drugs must never be depicted. This one's really stupid, but it's more to do with Japan's stigma against drugs. In Japan, where you can own 10 terabytes of child pornography and get a slap on the wrist for it. And owning marijuana could get you up to 5 years in prison. Japan moment! Did you know that Japan banned the possession of child pornography in 2014? What the fuck? It's also funny how Yakuza can talk about sex trafficking and have a whole bunch of other fucked up shit, but God forbid you mention the word weed or cocaine in any shape or form. And oh boy, do I love smoking and drinking. Nom 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 nom. Yeah, it's fucking stupid. And it's Japan. But I still wish they at least try to push back against it because it's 2025, please. Well, at least a lot more stuff in the story starts to make sense now. But seriously, these rules are outdated and stupid and just makes things worse a lot of the time. Especially when you're doing a crime drama with a whole load of heavy topics. And also, why even have these rules when you're just going to ignore them when you want to? I really hope they change and get rid of these rules. Oh yeah, and any prequels with the character that were Yakuza won't be happening anytime soon. So I hope you like another game in Hawaii. Yippee! So I guess something 10 years in the joint. Pussy. This is me just rambling about Yakuza, so enjoy. I wouldn't say I have a love-hate relationship with this series, but more of a dad who desperately wants their kid to do well and succeed. I know you can do well, son! I know you can do it, so please stop falling back to your old habits. I know you can be great. Come on, son, I know you can do it. Please. I don't have the same emotional attachment to the older games in this series as a lot of people do, but it's not like I don't have games like that in this series. Well, a game to be more accurate. Yakuza 0 is the only game that I have emotional attachment to. No other Yakuza games has come close to the feeling of playing 0. The 80s atmosphere, the characters, playing the disco minigame at 4 AM over and over again because I need to beat that disco queen, whatever her name was. But I didn't even mind it because I was having fun. 0 was the only game that got me emotionally invested, and it was the only Yakuza game to make me cry. Actually, I just remembered Ishin also made me cry, but it wasn't the main story. There was a sub-story where a dog got killed and then you had to find a cherry blossom where you could bury them. But still, 0 was the only game where the main story made me cry. I know one of the big reasons for that is because I started with Yakuza 0 knowing basically nothing about it. Even though the end of the game was a bit underwhelming and it had other stupid Yakuza story shit in it, I still had a wonderful time. I actually wasn't planning to play the other Yakuza games. Man, I spent like a month playing this game. I got other shit to do. But then one of my rats died and I was sad, so I wanted to do something to not be sad, so I got Kiwami. I had a lot of fun with Kiwami. It's one of my favorite Yakuza games. But man, I wish it was just so much more than just the remake, but that's a whole nother topic. But the ending was really disappointing to me, so much it kind of broke me. Specifically with Nishiki. Nishiki was done so dirty. He shows up and then you beat him up and then he sacrifices himself and that's it. And if this is what happens to the characters I care about and I like, then I don't want to get invested in them. I don't want to get invested in the story. I don't want to care. That's when I kinda lost the emotional connection to these games. But I still went into the next game hoping that the story will be better and they won't repeat same dumb tropes again. But that didn't really happen. Don't get me wrong, I still had a lot of fun. But for the most part, I was left disappointed and frustrated because of the same old dumb bullshit that happens over and over and over again. And what's the worst thing about that is that they haven't learned from it or changed. In fact, things are just getting worse. How many times does the bad guy kill someone when the protagonist turns their back on them? How many characters were sacrificed for no reason? How many times does Kiryu actually not die? How many times does somebody actually not kill somebody? How many times do they say the word dream? The new games have the same problems but way worse than the first game. 20 years later, they still have the same shitty tropes and the same shitty old story structure. At least the older games I dislike have some good moments or tries to have some good moments. But the latest games have nothing. The latest games feel soulless. And again, as much as I really dislike some of the older games, at least they had soul. Like, I don't want to harp on Yokoyama too much, but since Gaiden, something feels off. And man, some of these interviews are just ho. I don't want to say he's a bad writer, except I kinda do, but he's making it hard to do so. Like in an interview where he said that he didn't know who the final boss would be, and it was because he wanted to surprise himself. And it's like, yeah, that explains everything. I can't have a coherent story, that would be boring. And it seems now that he's in charge, a lot of the problems that the older games have are still there but worse. Like, I don't care about Noguchi too much, but at least he seemed to know what he was doing for the most part. I don't think Yokoyama knows what to do, so rather than moving on to a new character, they just bring Kiryu back again and again. What makes this more frustrating is that they still have the shitty story tropes and Yokoyama hasn't learned from his mistakes. I just want new writers, man. Like, honestly, I would trust a 60-year-old fanfiction writer on AO3 to write a better story than RGG. And hey, there were some great moments that I can acknowledge and understand, but emotionally, I'm not really there. And again, I still had a great time with some of these games, despite that. Like Dead Souls. Like, I love Dead Souls the way I love Resident Evil. I love the environment, the atmosphere, the characters, the gameplay. Maybe the word love is a bit strong for that one. And it's just fun. And also, one of the reasons why Yakuza Dead Souls is my favorite Yakuza game is that it has stuff I wish was in the canon of Yakuza games. Like when Kiryu got recognized. How is Kiryu like the symbol of Kamurocho and no one recognizes him? Why did they do this shit in a non-canon game? Ishin is another game I really like and it's one of my favorites. But again, I'm not really emotionally invested in it that much, even though it was the closest that came to that. Also, people died, which was nice. I know the bar is low, but you know, I'll take it. Off topic, I really hope that RGG won't remake Dead Souls. And if they will, they'll give it to the guys who made Resident Evil 4 remake. Like, I understand a remaster, obviously, but a remake? Like, you want another Kiwami too? Like, you want Akiyama's ugly ass black-haired Dragon Engine model? They made it a bit better in 8, but not really. Like, why did they make his hair black in Yakuza 6? It's clearly supposed to be dark brown. Like, if they announced the Dead Souls remake, I go to Japan and go to their door and say, hey, knock knock, I'll give you my kidney to not remake it, and then I would give you my second kidney for you to give it to Capcom to remake it. If they do anything with Dead Souls in the future, I just hope they put it on PC and the modern consoles and just make it not run like shit. They don't need to up it to like HD or retranslate it. Just make it not run like shit, please. The thing is, I want to be emotional with these games. I want to cry. I want to laugh. I want to care. I want to feel something other than frustration and disappointment with these games. I think like most of these games are badly written, especially when a big part of these games is the story. Like, all the games I have in E tier are games that I wish didn't exist or weren't canon, except maybe Yakuza 2. I just need to go play the PS2 English version, honestly, but I kinda don't want to. The reason is there because I just straight up had such a shitty time playing it. And also the story sucks dick and ass. I like my Yakuza game right in the middle where it's just right. And again, the potential, man. These games have the potential to be one of the best games ever, but they choose to go with the same shitty old route over and over again. Like, RGG, what other organ do I need to rip out of my body for you to make it something different and good? Or just get new writers, please. RGG, I know you can do it. I know you can make something legitimately good, please. After playing all the Yakuza games, not to sound like a Yakuza band, but I still think Zero has the best story. I know a big part of why I think that is because it was my first game, but still, it just feels the most polished out of the whole series, and like they knew what they wanted to do. It doesn't have much of the same stupid story tropes, and it doesn't try to be bigger than it needs to be. It's not perfect, obviously, but it's the only Yakuza game that is the closest to reaching its potential. And I just want to note that when I talk about these games, I am mostly talking about the story. The story and the characters is what mostly makes and breaks these games for me. Like, I would never go back to these games just for the combat, not because the combat is bad, not at all. These games aren't what I played the combat for, and if the combat is good, then that's like a nice bonus. I just like the games where they give me a gun. If I like the world, the characters, and the story, I am willing to overlook the flaws that the combat has, because the other parts of the game would make up for it. If I didn't start with Yakuza 0, I probably wouldn't have played all of the other games. Like, if I played Yakuza, I probably would think it's neat, but I wouldn't have cared enough to go play the other games. And also, part of me wishes that I only played 0. I just missed a few days of being optimistic and excited about the other games after playing 0. And I miss money. God, I would have so much money if I wasn't spending all of this on serious. God damn it. I don't think the future is looking great, quality-wise, for this series. But despite everything, I still really hope that there will be a Yakuza game in my lifetime that truly reaches its potential. I think the biggest problem RGG has is that the writing is just outdated and they keep making games bigger than they need to be, and I hope they realize that. This series has changed my life, so I don't want it to be bad, I want it to be good. So I really hope they will change for the better. And if they don't, then fucking some other goddamn studio better make a good Yakuza game, goddamn. Hey, thanks for watching if you watch all the way here, and thank you so much for the support I got from my last 2 videos. Thank you so much. A lot more people watched it than I expected. But thank you so much, really. It's nice to know that all the hard work I put into these videos are actually gonna look by people, so thank you. I'm just gonna ramble now. I'm sorry if this video is messy. I'm just also a mess right now. After this, I'm done for a while, at least until next month. I just want to play video games so bad. I miss playing video games. I'm gonna go play Ishin, the PS4 version, original, because I haven't played that one yet. I have played the PS3 one, but I got PS4 one. I've been waiting to play it for months now, so yay! But first I'm gonna play Resident Evil 7 again for a palate cleanser. I also want to make more positive videos, because I don't want to be like negative all the time. But it's not my fault, RGG has sucked lately, so the future videos for the most part will be more positive, hopefully. But yeah, thanks for watching. I will hopefully see you soon. Bye bye.